What's the worst, I hate to break it to you, moment you had with someone? My uncle thought he was my boyfriend for 3 months. I know how that sounds, but hear me out. I moved to Portland for college and got a job at this coffee shop downtown called Brew and Bean. There was this regular customer, maybe mid-40s, who'd come in every Tuesday around 2 p.m. asking specifically for me to make his order. He seemed harmless enough at first. Always tipped well, remembered my name was Jessica, asked about my classes at Portland State. Classic friendly regular customer stuff that made the job bearable. His usual order was a medium dark roast with oat milk and 2 sugars. He'd always compliment how I made it better than anyone else, saying I had the magic touch or whatever. I figured he was just being polite. Then he started leaving little notes with his tips. At first they were innocent enough. Thanks for brightening my day, or your smile makes the best coffee even better. I thought he was just being nice, maybe going through a rough patch and needed some human connection. But it escalated pretty quickly. He started showing up on days I wasn't even working, asking my coworkers when I'd be back. He'd time his visits perfectly with my shifts, sometimes waiting in his car across the street until I showed up. Then he started waiting until my shift ended to walk me to my car in the parking garage. Said Portland wasn't safe for young women and he wanted to make sure I got there okay. I felt uncomfortable but didn't want to be rude to a paying customer. The Valentine's Day incident should have been my wake-up call. He brought me a bouquet of pink roses and a card that said, "To someone who makes every day brighter." I was mortified but accepted them because my manager was watching and I didn't want to cause a scene. That's when he started getting bolder. He'd linger after getting his coffee, making small talk about my weekend plans and asking if I had a boyfriend. When I mentioned I was too busy with school for dating, his face lit up like Christmas morning. He even invited me to dinner multiple times, saying he wanted to get to know me better outside of work and that we had this special connection. I kept making excuses about being busy with midterms and papers, but he wasn't getting the hint. I was getting seriously creeped out but didn't know how to handle it without being rude. The guy seemed lonely and I felt bad for him. Plus, he was one of our best customers and I needed the job. My coworkers started noticing too. Sarah, who worked mornings, said he'd asked her for my schedule and whether I had a boyfriend. Even my manager Dave mentioned that Tuesday guy seemed a little too interested in me and asked if I felt safe around him. I brushed it off, saying he was probably just lonely after what seemed like a recent divorce based on his tan line where a wedding ring used to be. Everything changed when my mom visited for my 21st birthday last month. She walked into the coffee shop right as he was asking me out again, going on about how we had this special connection and how he'd been thinking about me constantly. He was being more persistent than usual, saying he'd made dinner reservations at some fancy steakhouse downtown called Morton's and really hoped I'd give him a chance. He kept saying things like, "I know there's something special between us, and I've never met anyone like you before." I was trying to politely decline, feeling more uncomfortable by the second, when my mom walked up to the counter carrying shopping bags from Pioneer Place Mall. My mom took one look at him and goes, "Uncle Rick, what are you doing here?" The color drained from both our faces instantly. Turns out he was my dad's brother who I hadn't seen since I was like 5 years old. He'd been hitting on his own niece for months without realizing it. The look on his face when he realized was pure horror mixed with disgust. He just grabbed his coffee, mumbled something about a misunderstanding, and literally ran out of the store. I haven't seen him since. My mom explained later that Uncle Rick had moved to Portland after his messy divorce and she'd mentioned I was going to college there but hadn't given him my exact location. He must have recognized my last name Martinez on my name tag but didn't connect the dots until he saw my mom. She said he'd been asking about me at family gatherings, but she thought he was just being a caring uncle checking on his niece's college experience. The whole thing was so mortifying that I requested to switch to morning shifts just in case he ever came back. My coworkers still tease me about my secret admirer who turned out to be family, and Sarah made a joke about it being the ultimate plot twist. I've been working mornings for 3 weeks now and thankfully haven't seen him since. We don't talk about family reunions anymore.